Hi, Emily here. I've been asked on several different occasions recently about my diet, and different people have been genuinely wanting to know what it is that I've been doing and how I've been eating these past couple of years that have brought these significant and positive changes I've been experiencing. I've been asked a couple other times too. It just seems to be coming. I'm getting asked more and more as I'm feeling better and better. And so I thought I'd go ahead and make a video and detail it out for everyone who may want to know or who asks. So, I'm 29 years old. When I was 18 years old, I was in a car accident that caused some significant whiplash and soft tissue damage issues that I actually still feel to this day. At age 19, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, which basically means chronic muscle pain. Shortly after that, I was faced with some hard emotional challenges relating to the accident, the diagnosis, and also relating to some other things that were altogether unrelated. In all of this, and earlier than all of this, I was also dealing with chronic sinus infections, headaches, and nausea that became chronic. I also developed multiple food sensitivities to wheat, beef, corn, dairy, and peanuts. Also, like when I was a child, I would frequently have stomach aches, get colds, and ear infections. Overall, I never felt that great, and it reached a point where I actually would feel bad all the time. Later on, I also developed issues with anxiety and depression. And I also experienced a period in my life of crippling fatigue. Somewhere in my early 20s, I tried a few different diets to help with the food sensitivities and the chronic nausea. I tried going sugar-free and eliminating all the foods that I was sensitive to. I tried some different supplements. The diets and different approaches that I tried either didn't seem to help, or they would actually make me feel worse. At age 23, I decided I was going to just be in pain and feel sick the rest of my life, so I may as well just move on with my life as it was. So I went off to college, out of state, and not long into my college experience, my body began to get in the way, as it had previously. I had trouble carrying my books to classes and sitting up in and through my classes due to the fibromyalgia pain, and I would also began having crying spells. But I made it, and I did love all the learning that was happening in my classes. I just loved being in school. At the end of the first year, I went on a 2.5-week study abroad trip to Italy. And then the rest of the summer I spent teaching vacation Bible schools back in my home state. It was challenging for me physically, but again, I made it. At that point, I was just trying to make it. I was just trying to survive. At age 24, I returned to college for a second year, but chronic pain was still an issue for me every day. I was starting to feel very fatigued, and as the first semester went on, I began to develop anxiety issues, which I had never had before, at least not in a way that impeded my life. By the end of that semester, my friends, family, and boyfriend were all concerned about my health. It was also around this time that my mom and a couple other people in my life heard a semi-local nutritionist by the name of Karen R. Hurd on the radio, who was reported to help heal people with food. And each person had mentioned to me her name on separate occasions. When I went to my parents for Christmas break, I was at that point at the end of my rope, and it became apparent that I needed to make some changes, or things were just going to get really bad for me. They were already bad, but they were going to become really bad. Up to that point, I thought I had tried everything I could try, other than long-term medications. Fibromyalgia had been communicated to me as a permanent condition, and that it didn't seem wise to me to start medications until it was absolutely necessary, since I was diagnosed when I was so young. I just wasn't comfortable with starting medications at age 19. So though I had little hope, or to no hope left at that point, I just didn't think anything out there would help. I decided to make one last effort, and I did go and see Karen Hurd. As I told her my story and listened to what she had to say, for the first time I felt like my physical condition and my challenges were actually and truly being understood. When she offered me her solution for it, it was also the first solution that really made sense to me. I left her office with new hope, and the tools I would find out were tools that would heal me. I decided to return to college and finish out the school year, while at the same time implementing the recommendations that Karen had made. Her prognosis was that I had worn out my adrenal glands through a combination of things like the consumption of sugar, prolonged emotional stress, ongoing physical stress, and lack of proper rest. And that my body wasn't producing the right amount of adrenaline and hormones I needed to function well and to feel good. Basically, I had burnout, a severe case of burnout. So, her recommendations. Her recommendations were eliminate all sugars, natural and artificial, including fruit sugars. I was also to eliminate all caffeine, all stimulants, including perfumes and chewing gum, and I was to eliminate exercise, which was not to be resumed until I was 100% well. I was also to be adrenaline sparing, which basically meant I was to modify my activity and my stress habits. I was then told to eat 6 times per day. For breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I was to eat 1 palm-sized portion of efficient protein. That's the size of my palm. In your case, it would be the size of your palm. And efficient proteins are meats, poultry, eggs, fish, seafood. And then I was to eat 1/2 cup of beans at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and beans as in legumes or soup beans, like black beans, pinto beans, lentils, kidney beans. And then for my mid-morning, mid-afternoon, and before bed snacks, I was to eat a 1/2 palm-sized portion of an efficient protein, as well as, again, 1/2 cup of beans. I was also to eat 3 to 5 servings of vegetables a day. For me, a serving equaled 1/2 cup. And then I was to drink at least a 1/2 gallon of filtered water daily. After or if I had completed all of the above eating that I was supposed to get done, I was then allowed to eat things like nuts, seeds, condiments, and carbohydrates in the form of like breads, chips, crackers, things like that, which I really didn't have any room for because I was eating so much of the other things. I was to expect initial withdrawal symptoms as I eliminated the sugar and caffeine, which I did experience for about a month. And then after that, I was to expect significant changes, positive improvements every 3 months. As it's every 3 months, our adrenal glands have completed 1 cycle of total cell regeneration, or every 3 months our adrenal glands produce a new set of cells, and it takes 3 months for that to happen. I was also to expect the healing to take 18 to 24 months, and in my case, I was to add another 1 to 3 years on top of that because I was so bad. So, since I have started Karen's recommendations, it's been just under 5 years, and everything she has said would happen has happened as I have followed her recommendations, and I'm actually not far from being completely well. Along the way, we did make 2 modifications to my eating plan. About halfway through, I only had to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner meals every day, so I was reduced to eating 3 times a day. I could eat more, but 3 became my minimum instead of 6. And then second, larger amounts of nuts and seeds were added into my diet to help with hormonal production. Everything else stayed the same, and this is actually the way I currently eat and will eat for the rest of my life. This is the maintenance diet I'm on. Let's see. So when I first started her recommendations, I decided to go back to college and finish out the year while implementing the new diet. As I eliminated the sugars and stimulants, I found I was more fatigued than I realized. By the end of that semester, I was nearly crippled by fatigue. I decided to spend the summer at my parents' place and just stop life and rest, or basically sleep. The fatigue was so bad, I actually didn't have any other options. I needed to rest. I proceeded to spend many months mostly in bed, but gradually I did see improvements and I began to feel better. My sinus issues went away almost immediately, as did the nausea and the headaches. The anxiety actually got worse for a while as my body detoxed and recalibrated. I also developed depression during the healing process because my energy levels were so low. But these things, like everything else, began to balance out and resolve to the point where currently the only things I deal with are seasonal depression, occasional mild anxiety, moments of low energy, and infrequent flare-ups of muscle pain. Also, my food sensitivity has gone away completely. Karen assures me that as I continue with the eating plan and lifestyle changes I've adopted, I will arrive at a place in life where I am 100% well, just free and clear well. And I believe this, and I plan to keep going. I've had seasons during the last 5 years where I haven't been 100% faithful to the eating plan, which has caused some setbacks. I've also had some emotional obstacles I've had to work through and heal from and overcome. And as you can imagine, all of the physical challenges that I was dealing with, especially the pain and fatigue, they did impact my ability or lack thereof to work a regular job, which did cause some financial stress for me. So it's been a process, but to have an eating plan that makes me feel better and not worse, that's actually facilitating healing through the ups and downs of my life, it's just been profound. It's been the difference between life and death for me, honestly. And had I not adopted the eating plan Karen recommended, aside from a miracle of God, which I know He's capable of doing, I would not be now approaching the 30th year of my life with expectation and hope, where I feel like my life is just beginning in a good way, and that the old has passed and the new is dawning for me. So, to learn more about Karen R. Hurd, you can visit her website at www.karenhurd.com. That's Karen, HURD.com. She has DVDs, articles, and podcasts on her website. She's also available for telephone consults, as not everyone is able to make it or can make it into her office. She's helped thousands and thousands of people get well through food alone. My own boyfriend is currently on one of her eating plans, and he's experiencing really amazing results. We're excited. And I also have some friends who are on her eating plan, and they're experiencing healing through food as well. So if you're interested in this for yourself or someone you know, I'd recommend that you set up an appointment with Karen, as though she does offer general eating recommendations for good health. She does make modifications depending on what issues a person is dealing with. Also, she will work with doctors and medications and her goal is to get you 100% well whenever it is possible, and to do this primarily through food or through food alone. I know she can help people with all sorts of issues, from diabetes to being overweight to depression, and she sees just phenomenal results in her practice every day. So anyway, thank you so much for stopping by. If you would like to hear me explain more about the details of and science behind Karen's recommendations, I do plan to do that in another video, which you'll be able to or can find amongst my other YouTube videos. Thank you so much. Eat well, be well. Thank you.